I will call this meeting to order of the Johnson City City Commission for Thursday, September the 2nd. We're meeting at 6 p.m. at the Johnson City Municipal Safety Building. And I'll invite to the podium to bring our invocation the Director of Missions and Open Door Worship at Munsey Memorial United Methodist Church to give our invocation.
Please join me in prayer. Gracious and loving Father, thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here tonight. Thank you for your many blessings and abundant blessings. We pray for those who have been ravaged by hurricanes and floods. We ask that you extend your grace and mercy to them. I especially ask your blessings on the people who have been called to lead our community in which we live and work and play. Help them be leaders who not ask first, how do we do this, but what do we need to learn? How might we need to change? And to who do we need to listen? Help them remember, because we all forget from time to time, that they are not only leaders, but also servants, and that it is theirs and our responsibility to serve the common good for all. It is in your most blessed name I pray. Amen.
Amen. If you'll face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Mayor, the first item is consider approval of the minutes of the regularly scheduled City Commission meeting held on Thursday, August 19th, 2021.
Are there any adjustments or a motion?
Motion approved.
We have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. We'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes.
Next item is consideration of a beer license application for the Johnson City Brewing Company, 2362 Boones Creek Road, Johnson City. And this is an item for consideration of a Class 1 on-premise beer license for Johnson City Brewing Company. Again, the address is 2362 Boones Creek Road. The business is in the B4 zone. A report has been received from the legal department. They have found no disqualifying factors. The applicant has been informed of mandatory presence at this commission meeting, and at the end of the time and location set for this applicant's consideration. The staff has recommended approval, and this is before you for consideration.
The applicant here, if you'll approach the podium and give your name and business address.
My name is Eric Latham, and the business address is 2362 Boones Creek Road.
Have you read the rules and regulations concerning the sale of alcohol in the city of Johnson City?
Yes,
And do you agree to abide by them?
yes.
Good enough. All right. We just need a motion from the commission or questions of the applicant.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. When will you open?
As soon as we can.
Okay.
I think I would just like to say something. Eric, it's so great to see a small business expand like y'all have, and thanks for continuing to invest in our community, and we wish you all the best in the world.
Appreciate that very much. It's been a long journey, 7
Yes.
years doing this.
Yeah.
And we've done it, I guess, the way we should. It's incrementally and organically, and not without the help of this community. So we appreciate what you all do, too.
Good.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Are we ready to call the roll?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
And Mayor Wise?
Yes. Good luck to you.
Thank you all
Thank
very
you.
much.
Next item is consideration of a beer license application for Tirth 2021 Incorporated, doing business as State of Franklin Exxon, 917 North State of Franklin Road, Johnson City. And this is a Class 2 off-premise license for Tirth 2021 Incorporated, DBA State of Franklin Road, Johnson City. The business is in a B4 zone. A report has been received from the legal department, and they have found no disqualifying factors. The applicant has also been informed of a mandatory presence at the commission meeting regarding the time and location of this application's consideration, which is now before you for your consideration.
Is the applicant here? If you'll approach the podium and give your name and business address.
Janaben Prajapati, 917 State of Franklin Road, Exxon.
Have you read the rules and regulations concerning the sale of alcohol in Johnson City?
Yes, sir.
And do you agree to abide by them?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Are there questions of the applicant?
Question probably to staff, I guess. Is this a new owner of the establishment, or is this a new beer license, or has it changed hands?
Yes.
Is that why we're doing
Yes,
this?
ma'am.
Okay,
Changing hands.
thank you.
Any other questions?
I'll move for approval.
We have a motion for approval and a second. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck to
Yes,
you.
sir. Thank you.
We have a series of road closure requests. The first item is the UMOJA Festival, which will be held on September 11th, 2021. UMOJA has requested a soft closure of King Street and Miller Street as outlined in the site plan that was presented to the staff on the page for the UMOJA Festival on Saturday, September 11th, from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. Access to the public library and Renaissance Bank will remain open. The Special Events Committee, which includes traffic, police, public works, has reviewed UMOJA's site plan and found the proposed closures safe and appropriate. And we recommend that the Board of Commissioners approve these road closures. And this is before you for your consideration.
The applicant here.
Applicant is here, I believe,
All right.
Joe Bradley.
If you want to come on up, give your name and address.
Name is Joe Bradley, 13 Spring Knoll Court, Johnson City, Tennessee.
All right. Are there questions for the applicant?
Joe, what year is this for UMOJA?
This is the 24th Annual UMOJA Festival.
That's awesome.
Yes, and this year we're having it down at Kings Commons Park this year. And we're asking everybody to join us. We're asking everybody to mask up, wear their mask and social distancing. And it's a good family, fun festival. And we're asking everybody to come up, have a good time and dance and sing and just enjoy themselves. So,
Thank you. Are there other
You're
questions for the applicant?
I'd just like to know where he got his shirt. That's really nice.
thank you.
Very nice, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your hard work over the years. Was doing some research on your website, and I'm glad to know what UMOJA means, which I already knew, but just for the education of our public and community, UMOJA is Swahili for unity. And so what your organization stands for is something that our community embodies, and we need to cultivate that. So thank you for what you do.
So much.
Are there other questions or a motion? I move approval. Have a motion to approve.
Second.
And a second. We'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes. Good luck. Congratulations. Thank you.
Next road closure request is the Goose Chase Bluegrass Half Marathon. Wait a minute.
Are you
wait a minute.
missing
I
5.2?
jumped the gun here. So the road closure request for Science Hill
Charlie
High
just
School.
canceled homecoming. There's
I
your
canceled
headline.
homecoming. We do have Science Hill High School homecoming parade dated September 17th. Science Hill High School's requested soft closure of Pactolus Road, Liberty Bell Boulevard, Cotty Jones Lane, as outlined in the site plan for the homecoming parade, which again is on Friday, September 17th, from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. The Special Events Committee, which again includes traffic, police, and public works, has reviewed the site plan submitted by Science Hill High and found the proposed closures safe and appropriate, and we recommend that the Board of Commissioners approve these road closures. And this is before you tonight for consideration.
Applicant is here. If you'll give your name and address, please.
Tim Van Thornout, the school address 1509 John
All
Axon.
right, thank you. Are there questions for the applicant?
Yeah, what kind of good things you got going on?
So homecoming, of course, is always a big to-do for us, and our student government puts the parade together. We hope to have around 25 organizations with representation and then, of course, our band or ROTC, and then we do celebrate some young people for homecoming queen and princess and such, so hope to be a big night.
I'll move for approval.
We have a motion. Second. And a second. We'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to the road closure request for the Goose Chase at Bluegrass Half Marathon for September 26. The Goose Chase has requested soft closures of Commerce Street, West King Street, Elm Street, Water Street, Buffalo Street, West State of Franklin, East Main, Burt Street, South Broadway Street, Colorado Street, Spruce Street, Orleans Street, Legion Street, Alabama Street, East Maple Street, Spring Street, Jerry Street, West Walnut Street, Ernest Street, West Maple Street, Cherokee Street, West Pine Street, West Locust Street, Gilbert Drive, West State of Franklin, North State of Franklin, West Market Street, Veterans Way, Lamont Street, Hillcrest Drive, Wilson Avenue, and
So in
Winter
other words,
Street.
just stay home. There will be no roads available those days.
As outlined in the site plan for the Bluegrass Half Marathon on Sunday, September 26th, from 7:30 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. Again, the Special Events Committee has met with Karen Hubbs, including traffic, police, and public works. We have reviewed the site plan submitted by the Goose Chase, found the proposed closures safe and appropriate, and we do recommend approval.
We need a lot of volunteers to cover those streets.
Yes, yes, we need 70, actually.
If you'll give your
Plus some water
name and
stations.
business address.
Karen Hubbs, The Goose Chase, 916 Althea Street.
All right, are there questions for the applicant? Which I want to commend the applicant on having all four of them so neatly and in order. And we'll just we're going to have it
I love
all the
seeing
way
you all,
through
but I'd rather see you
Thanksgiving.
outside than in
That's
here.
right. So are there questions about, we have three more after this. This is just the Bluegrass Half Marathon. Are there questions for Ms. Hubbs on that application?
I'm curious to know more about Goose Chase, because
Well,
when I saw
Aaron,
the
we might need to do
agenda,
lunch sometime because that's a long story. But I'm an event management company basically, but we do some other things as well as far as marketing, promotion, merchandising, that sort of thing. But I worked at the Johnson Convention and Visitor Bureau for 15 years under Brenda Whitson and Gary and that bunch, and fell in love with the Bluegrass Half Marathon, actually. I was part of that original group that started it and sat in a meeting with Jenny and Jane Myron, and that's when Turkey Trot was thought of. So it's in my blood. I don't run, I'll be honest with you, but I love the event side of things. I love to entertain people, and so I fell in love with this business and started the Goose Chase 8 years ago, actually this past August, and took a leap of faith, and every day is a leap of faith if you own your own business, truly.
Or a
So,
leap.
yeah. So anyway, we do events for a living, and mostly road races. We do some obstacle course races as well.
How many attend the Bluegrass nowadays?
Well, our numbers are fluctuating here and there. One day we're up and one day we're down. So we're expecting about 500 to 600 people.
And they come regionally or locally or?
Our half marathons reach outside of Johnson City Market. So we get a lot from Knoxville. We've had people from Savannah, Hilton Head, Georgia, all over the southeast that came in, and some from even New York. So
That's great.
And do you still have the bluegrass groups that are positioned out on
we
the course?
do. We are going to
Yeah.
use more local bluegrass bands
is
this
very
year.
unique.
So we have bluegrass throughout the course, of course, bluegrass at the end of the race, and people love it. And it really, compared to all the Johnson City races, it has a similar. No one can touch the Turkey Trot, but it has a similar reputation as the Turkey Trot. We get a lot of great comments and a lot of people that love it. And this year, just a little side note, is we have taken over the haunted half that Hank Brown used to do. We've taken it over in Jonesboro, and then we created one in Elizabeth and called the Music at Miles. So if you do all three of those half marathons, you've completed the trifecta. So those runners that do all three will get a special medal for doing that. So it's pretty neat.
Well, I'll move for approval.
A
Second.
motion and a second. We'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes.
We have another request. I'm going to ask Karen that, I got information that your request on the Scarecrow Skedaddle's been deferred. Is that
It's
accurate?
going to be postponed till next year.
Okay, so that's a
Uh-huh.
that's a deferral or postponement.
Yes.
That brings us to the Goose Chase S'mores Run on November 6, 2021. The Goose Chase has requested a soft closure of Alabama Street as outlined in the site plan for their S'mores Run on Saturday, November 6th from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. The Special Events Committee, which again includes traffic, police, public works, we have reviewed the site plan by the Goose Chase and find the proposed closures safe and appropriate, and we have recommended to the Board of Commissioners that they approve these road closures, and it's before you for your review and consideration.
Questions for the applicant?
So we're on 5.5, correct?
We are on 5.5.
What is the s'mores run? What's the purpose of that?
Well, it depends on who you ask. 'Cause the runner that says it's for the run, and the people that don't run often, it's for the s'mores. So what we do is it's 3.5 miles on the Tweezy Trail. We start at Alabama, the entrance of Alabama, and go to the Smokehouse Barbecue Restaurant where there's a bridge. And then we have a post party, and my goal is to make it Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, but not quite got there. But as a campfire setting, it's pretty fun. And we try to find every flavor of marshmallows, chocolate, and graham crackers you can find, and just have a big campfire, and everybody enjoys a s'mores at the end. And so people love it. It's truly a family-friendly event. We see runners or semi-runners or walkers or joggers or strollers, whatever you want to say, that come and do this race just because it's a lot of fun, and they do it as a family. So it's becoming one of our larger races.
Is it free to the public?
No, I'm sorry, I'm a business. And I got to buy marshmallows, so.
We've got time to get in shape for that.
Yeah, I'm game.
So do we have further questions for the applicant?
I didn't hear any responses to that.
No. All right. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. We'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes.
The last.
Commissioner Murphy really wants to know, does he have to run to get the s'more, or could he just hook up with you?
Volunteers get to eat for free,
Yeah.
so if you want to
There
be a
you go.
volunteer.
Thank you, Charlie.
And the last Goose Chase request is the turkey trot, scheduled for November 25th, 2021. The Goose Chase has requested a soft closure of East State of Franklin, West Watauga, Boyd Street, West Locust Street, Southwest Avenue, West Pine Street, South Run Street, West Maple Street, Alabama Street, and Legion Street as outlined in the site plan that has been presented for the Johnson City Turkey Trot on Thursday, November 25th, from 8:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. The Special Events Committee, again, Traffic, Police, and Public Works has reviewed this site plan submitted by Goose Chase and found the closures to be safe and appropriate, and we do recommend this event and approval of this application tonight.
Questions for the applicant or a motion?
Want to talk about the
I will say
theme?
something.
Yeah.
You brought up, you run as a group, and Jenny, you can remember this, years ago, Mayor Wise.
Yes.
It was between the mayor of Johnson City and Jonesboro had a race between Jane Myron and Kelly Wolf. So we could bring that back this year.
And Dan Eldridge was there.
There is
yeah.
absolutely no need for
Joe
that.
versus Joe, right?
No, it'd be Chuck Vest. He'd probably outrun me. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah.
And there's a great picture of that race,
There
by
I'm
the
sure
way.
there is.
Because when the gun went off,
All
they
right, so I'm
almost
looking
got
for a
blown
motion.
over.
The chair is looking for a motion.
Move approval for Joe
Thank
to
A
run in
motion.
the race.
Motion approved.
And a motion and a second of an ambiguous nature. Whether I think it was to approve the road closure. We'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes.
Thank
Karen,
you.
you may talk about how many years this has been?
This is our Sweet 16, so our logo will reflect that, and it's by far it's the largest race in the Tri-Cities market. We've had 4,300 in the past. Who knows what's going to bring back this year? But I will say during 2020, we decided not to have it, and it was neat to see how much the turkey trot has meant in people's lives. I got pictures from people running the turkey trot from Key West. From the lawn of Washington, D.C., the Grand Canyon. I mean, they were all over doing the turkey trot, seeing with their shirts on, their medals and their bibs. And it really just brought it home what a community event and what a tradition this is for so many families.
Well,
And
we had
so
a virtual. We still had
Yes.
1,500 people
We
sign
did.
up.
And
to
it was
get the
by
shirt.
far the largest
Yeah.
virtual. Trust me, I did a lot of those last year, and by far, this was the best one that took place.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you all.
This brings us to the consent agenda for your review and consideration.
Anything you'd like to pull, Commissioner Hunter?
6.4.1.
Okay. Commissioner Brock?
None.
Okay.
Small.
Commissioner?
No, sir.
All right, so that just brings the 6.4.1.
I don't know. This is for testing. COVID
Yeah, this is
testing.
a school
For
issue.
schools.
I don't know.
Students.
Right. Is there anybody?
I can't offer anything on that other than what I've read.
Well, I just wanted to bring attention to it, and I think the gist of it is it's going to help with staff and student testing for COVID in this era, and they're receiving a grant in order to fund those tests, and so I'm happy to see that.
Very helpful, yeah.
Was there anything further on that, Commissioner Hunter?
No.
Okay. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Move approval?
We have a motion
Second.
and a second from Commissioner Murphy. All those, or well, I guess we need to call the roll, sorry, jumping the gun.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes.
With the consent agenda adopted, this brings us to ordinances first reading. We have ordinance number 4789-21 first reading, an ordinance to rezone 18.315 acres at 1072 West Oakland Avenue from B4 to R5 for apartments. That's before you under first reading. So we have Whitney Hodge here to present that.
Good evening. As a first reading, I'm just going to go through the request and then perhaps take any questions so that during the public hearing, staff can come back with further information. This is located on West Oakland, adjacent to the reserve. You'll find it here. The proposed site is actually, the property itself is it goes across Oakland, but they just want to rezone the top site. Just to talk about the request just a little bit, it's 12 buildings, and they're going to be 1-, 2-, and 3-story apartments. They're market rate. They are providing what they need to for traffic along West Oakland, as well as sidewalks, and they've worked with engineering to put the sidewalks where they need to be, and they're doing it through their property. This sometimes shows that it would go all the way through, but it goes to the creek is where that sidewalk would go, and then the city would need to pick that up. They're going to do underground stormwater detention, and they meet the parking and buffering requirements, but one of the things is they are taking advantage of some of the parking reductions that is already found in our ordinance. The developer, which is TDK, provided some renderings. And so this is some examples of what their architecture will look like. And this is the buildings and then the amenity center, which on the rendering is, I believe, here. So one of the things to note is it does have 2 accesses, and here will be, they've been approved to cross into Chase Drive, and they have that kind of worked out with the medical office that's proposed here as well. So there are 2 ways to get in and out. When we have received concerns, part of it is with density and with traffic. And so just to kind of give you an idea of the density that is around it, the reserve is at 17 units per acre. And I cannot recall the name of this one, but y'all will know it. And that is 13.9 units an acre. So there isn't a density with B4, but around it, this kind of gives you an idea. The R5 that they're requesting can go up to 22 units per acre, but with what they're doing, it's 15.72. With some traffic, and certainly Mr. Penzola can speak more to it, we have run some comparative tables as far as, and we can, if you want to know more, we can talk about it, but for specific uses, and if it were to stay as it is in B4, these are some ideas of trip generations of what that could look like. And I'm just going to leave them up here, and we can talk about more in the public hearing. And again, what those would look like with the proposed rezoning. What you'll note is that with what they're proposing, an all-day kind of thing is about 1,900, a little over 1,900 trips. And so if you were to do a 150,000 square foot building, which would be a rather large building, like a super Walmart kind of size, these would be the trip generation. So just to kind of as a comparative tool.
Read those. I'm sorry, I can't
Oh, yes, I certainly
see
can.
those.
So for that size, a hospital would be a little over 1,900 trips. A clinic is a little over 4,700. General office is about 1,600, so that would be less than. A medical dental office, that's about 5,400. A shopping center is about 6,400, and a specialty retail is about 6,600. And they're just generals, like, so it's really a comparative kind of tool.
It's helpful, though.
The current land use map just shows this site as vacant, and what the future has basically mirrored what is the rezoning. Staff is in support of the rezoning. We'll get to that. If you haven't been out to the property, this is what it looks like. I do feel like these are still continues to be my vacation slides. But there are plans and policies in place that would support this rezoning, and staff does support the rezoning because it would encourage some infill development. In the staff report, it's noted of how this is very close in proximity to different commercial, so that there's opportunity for multimodal ways to get around. It does support multifamily development, which is found as a policy in our bridge plan, and also supports a wide range of housing options, which is in both the bridge plan and the strategic plan. And so the Planning Commission also recommended approval, and there was a neighborhood meeting held in August.
Was there any feedback from the neighborhood meeting?
Yes, the neighborhood meeting, they did have questions about stormwater as well as the transportation. And that's really what we're seeing a lot of, is the traffic along Oakland and Mountain View.
And when you say neighborhood, are you talking about up the residential up around Tree and Bondwood in that area?
So the neighborhood meeting is a little bit of a misnomer because the actual notification is really an adjoining property owner. And those that see the sign and call and let us know, we will let them know that there's a meeting being held. So it's really an adjoining property owner letter and a meeting. But we're getting calls from anybody in the community, and especially on that side of town.
So at the meeting, how many showed up?
That, and I'm gonna have to look at Preston because three.
Are there other questions for staff? Is the applicant here as well?
There's someone representing the applicant that is
Okay.
here.
I would be open. Are there questions from the commission for the applicant at this stage, or do you want to save those for second reading?
I don't have any specifically. I mean,
I-
you know, it's well laid out. I think we can see. I know a lot of the traffic concerns came up when what's the one behind it? Reserves?
The reserve, yes.
Yeah, and so many of us travel those roads, and that really hasn't manifested itself in a way that is problematic. Plus, we made improvements at Browns Mill for, Mountain View Road to be able to move through. There's no backup there anymore, so I think we've made improvements and will continue to in that area.
Okay. Well, if there isn't need, we'll thank you for being here. Is there a motion to take action on first reading?
We'd move for approval.
There's only two of you guys, so one of
Yeah.
you gonna have to do something.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there objection to calling the roll? Ms. Jennings?
Commissioner Brock,
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter,
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy,
Yes.
Mayor Wise.
Yes.
Brings us to ordinances under second reading. We have ordinance number 4781-21, second reading and public hearing, an ordinance to amend Title 7, Chapter 1 of the Code of the City of Johnson City, Tennessee. Before you on second and public hearing.
Commissioners, if you recall, this was the ordinance that involves limiting the amount of activity that the occupant or the owner can take with the fire alarm once it's been activated prior to our arrival. So,
Has there been any change to it since first reading?
no, there's been no change.
Are there questions from the commission concerning the ordinance? Is there a motion?
Public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. public hearing. We'll open the floor for public hearing on second reading of ordinance 4781-21. We'll close public hearing, and now I will ask for a motion.
I'll move approval.
We have a motion and a second. We'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes.
That brings us to ordinance number 4788-21, second reading and public hearing, and the ordinance authorizing the conveyance to the Appalachia Service Project Incorporated of a certain parcel of real property owned by the city of Johnson City and located in the 9th Civil District of Washington County, Tennessee, upon the terms and conditions contained herein, and repealing all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith. This item, part 2 of 2, see also the agreement of conveyance on the consent agenda, which you obviously already approved, and this is before you on second reading and public hearing.
Forgive me if I could, Mayor. There was a correction made on the agenda that may not have transpired into what Mr. Stahl has in his hand. The public hearing will actually be on third reading, so this is just going to be a normal, non-public hearing, second reading. Also, the agreement of conveyance on consent occurred at the last meeting, and so this is just simple second reading, and this is the ordinance to convey the property, the city property at 221 East Myrtle to ASP.
Questions for Mr. Mitchell or a motion? We have a motion to approve
Second.
and a second. No objection, we'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes.
Thank you. We have ordinances under third reading, ordinance number 4779-21 on third reading, and ordinance to rezone property at 519 Claude Simmons Road from R2 to A1 before you on third reading.
Any
There is-
changes?
There is no changes.
All right. A motion or questions?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Second. We'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes.
Under third reading, ordinance number 4785-21, an ordinance to rezone 930 Riverview Drive from I-2 to PB on third reading.
There is no new information.
Move for approval.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. If there's not objection, we'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes.
Now we have ordinance number 4786-21 under the third reading, an ordinance to rezone 21.12 acres located along Novus Drive at North State of Franklin Road and West Market Street from R4 to B4 and MS1 before you under third reading.
There is no new information since the public hearing.
Questions for staff or a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Without objection, we'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes.
On the ordinance number 4787-21 under third reading, an ordinance to modify the allowed uses in Article 6.13 Medical Services District, MS1 of the City of Johnson City zoning ordinance before you under third reading.
There is no new information.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. If there's not objection, we'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunter?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Wise?
Yes.
And now, under other, we have consider approval of a permissive use agreement for 302 Buffalo Street, Unit 100, to the Horner Group Incorporated, doing business as Fleet Feet. And this is a permissive use agreement that basically allows Fleet Feet, which has occupied a portion of the old train station property, which the city recently purchased for its Convention and Visitors Bureau, to remain in this lower area of the building we acquired until November. This is basically being a good neighbor, give them ample time to relocate, and they've, I think, identified some space for that. And this would be a lease that would go through November, but if it was, if they left before that time, it would be a prorated rent, which is stated at $2,500 a month. And staff has looked at this. Randy Trivet has been the point of contact. I believe Sonny has reviewed it, and we recommend approval of this.
I know the CVB has been very anxious to get the visitor center open. This will have a pretty major impact, because if we wait till November the 30th, by the time the renovations are done downstairs, I mean, you're talking about next year before the visitor center can be open and up and running. So, I mean, is this, how does the CVB feel about this?
Well, I guess talking with Brenda, obviously, if she could be in sooner rather than later, I think they would agree that, you know, as soon as possible, but they recognize that it's a process that's, you know, in motion, and they seem to be very agreeable to work, you know, within that.
It was my understanding the Fleet Feet already had a lease on a place.
Yes.
What has delayed them from moving?
I'm not sure I can speak for it, other than I assumed it was some remodeling of the area or getting the area suitable for their occupation, but I don't know the specifics on that.
And their door is open. I stopped by, and Brenda has mentioned that they've already had people just from the signage stopping in and getting information, and so it's already being used.
Talking to Mr. Trivet, I got the impression if there was, while this goes through November, he gave me the impression, I hope I understood it accurately, that it may not be through November. It seems like, to your point, they seem to be moving sooner rather than later, but this does give them that time through November if needed.
Other questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Other comments or deliberations?
Well, yeah, I'm really not favorable to this. I mean, I'll go ahead and vote for it, but I just hate to see a delay like this for our visitor center, and it's going to take work, and are we going to be ready and to hit the ground running when they're out? So I certainly would encourage us doing everything we can to help them move.
Yeah, I would echo that sentiment. I don't want to throw a roadblock in Fleet Feet's plans, but I also recognize we need a visitor center sooner rather than later. And so anything that can expedite it is appreciated. So we have a motion. Are there any other comments? If not, objection, we'll call the roll.
Commissioner Brock,
Reluctantly, yes.
Commissioner Hunter,
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy,
Yes.
and Mayor Wise.
Yes.
Mayor, there is no public comment tonight, but I do have a few comments, if I can make a statement or two about a few events and activities. One is and you probably have received communication on this, one is the American Legion Post 24. They have sent communication out, Kings Mountain Post 24. They will host the 5th annual 9/11 Remembrance and Patriot Day celebration. This event will begin at 8:30 a.m. sharp on Saturday, September 11th. The ceremony will be conducted at the amphitheater at Memorial Park Community Center, 510 Birch Street, which of course is across the street here. The event is intended to honor and remember the courage of those first responders, 911, police, firefighters, EMS, as well as the military members and civilians who lost their lives on the 11th of September 2001. Guest speaker is retired airline purser and stewardess Carol Fair, who was inbound on a flight from London that day, and with access to the cockpit and equipped with a headset, she was able to monitor the communication with air traffic control and the FAA while providing instructions and information to the passengers on board. Then she'll share some memories that morning 20 years ago. And then the focus of the ceremony will then move to extend our thanks and show our appreciation to all our first responders serving our community. And the Kings Mountain Post will recognize various representatives from those emergency responders. So they are inviting all organizations, businesses, citizens, the city, our first responders to attend and participate in this event. and give thanks for their sacrifices. And they mentioned that current social distancing will be observed. So that's just a point of information. All of you have been invited to that as well. And one other thing, if JT maybe will help me out, just as this is there's a little icon, a bridge icon on the upper right side there of the. This is. I just want to point this out. This, and maybe JT can flip the sides as we go on, but this one here, a citizen that some of you know named Bernie Gray contacted the city, contacted me last year, and said that he would like to spruce up these historic bridges that are located in and around the downtown area. And he went ahead and, at his own investment and time, made some investments in spruce. And so, JT, if you wouldn't mind just flipping, oh, there you go. And here's the end result of one of his restorations. And just keep on going if you can. There's another backside of the same area. This is near Eric Heron's law firm, by the way, if you haven't seen that. And I'm not sure which location. There's some around our school bus lots and some in the downtown. This is of course, original. Some of these are dated. There's no date on this one, 1926. So you're dealing with some age on these. And there's another one that is
That's
near.
from Anne Marie's Forest.
Yeah, and
Watauga.
yeah. That's and so I just want to. I told Bernie I felt his time and investment was worthy of mentioning it to all you. He's certainly a very engaged, civic, and community-minded individual, and I know I'm speaking for all of us when we thank him for his time and investment he made in this, because this was something on his mind for quite a while. He took his initiative and did it. So I think he's identified a few others that we weren't aware of. So you may be seeing some other ones in the near future too. So, but that's my general comments tonight. And
Just follow up. I think it would be great if we could send a letter to Bernie from the commission in thanks, and if we could do that, I think we would.
we'll have one prepared.
Thank you.
Maybe even a proclamation.
Looks nice. I'd tell you, I'd take concrete from 1926 over concrete from the year 2000 most often than not. It's in better shape. So good for Bernie. Thank you. Any questions or comments, Commissioner Hunter?
No, sir.
Commissioner Brock?
I would just say this. Tonight, we conducted regular business, and there are hundreds of small towns from Louisiana to Mississippi to the Northeast, what we've seen today, where their commissions, their councils, their mayors are trying to manage crisis. Towns that have lost all electricity, and we know that their sewer systems in backup, no communication, no water, no food. Imagine these towns where everybody's lost every bit of food in their refrigerators and their freezers. And so the tasks are just monumental of what's in front of them, and it's not a weekend fix and they're back in business. I mean, it's months and months. And what we've had happen this past week, the financial cost, it just can't even be calculated right now, but the cost to our fellow citizens is just huge. And so let's keep them in our thoughts and prayers, and we are very fortunate and give thanks that things have been pretty normal around here, but you can never count on that with everything that's happening. But just want to really keep them in our minds, our counterparts, what they're going through right now.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yeah, I'd like to recognize Morgan Rankin of Southside Elementary, who has been named the 2021-2022 Tennessee Teacher of the Year. We thank Morgan for her hard work, her commitment, her loyalty to this region, and I'm also excited to know that she will represent Tennessee for the National Teacher of the Year. So let's give a round of applause for Morgan.
Thank you, sir.
She's from our backyard, so.
Absolutely. My think with that, our meeting is adjourned.